Bio, Loadable aka Mega Blitz. Today's video, we're going to be talking about a deck that will absolutely lock your opponents out of the game, potentially even make them rage quit. Now, I've been playing this deck quite a bit over the last 2 weeks before the World Championships, and this deck was projected to do pretty well at the World Championships. With the World Championships happening this weekend, I'm not too sure how the deck is going to do, but I have a pretty good feeling that someone is going to take this deck on a very solid run. So now let's jump right in to that deck list. Alrighty, here we are at that deck list. Iron Thorns EX. Now, this deck, everybody hyped up Iron Thorns EX when it first got announced, saying that it was going to replace Path to the Peak. Everybody was going to play it, and there was a lot of controversy about that. Now, not a lot of people thought there was going to be a quad Iron Thorns deck running around that literally can just lock your opponent entirely out of the game. With its ability, Initialization, as long as Pokemon is in the active spot, Pokemon with rule boxes in play, both yours and your opponents, have no abilities except for future Pokemon. With this attack, Volt Cyclone for 3 energy, 140 damage, move an energy from this Pokemon to one of your benched Pokemon. You're able to kind of manipulate your energy in play, being able to have multiple attackers set up and ready to go, and shutting off those abilities from your opponent's Charizard EX or their Pidgeot, or even like Regidrogo V-Star's Legacy Star ability. Things like that can really help out in a game. Now, with that being said, of course, we do have to have a couple things in the deck here. One of those things being a very high count of Lightning Energy. We are playing 8 copies of this Lightning Energy, 4 double turbo energy, and then for my ace spec of choice here, I'm playing Legacy Energy. And there's 2 reasons why we are playing that Legacy Energy. For the first reason, it lets you set up and get that Lightning Energy requirement that you need for the Iron Thorns EX. But it also helps in that prize trade in the matchup. Your opponent's prize mapping is going to be thrown off, and it's going to force your opponent to have to take 4 knockouts if one of your Iron Thorns has a Legacy Energy on it when it gets KO'd, because if this Pokemon this card's attached to is knocked out by damage from an attack from your opponent's Pokemon, that player takes 1 fewer prize card. So now they can't just go 2-4-6, they have to go 2-4-5 and then 6. So that Legacy Energy really helping out in that prize mapping for us and hindering our opponent. And of course, we're playing a lot more disruption cards in here as well. 3 copies of that Lost City for that Gardevoir matchup or anything like that, trying to kind of just make it so our opponent can't get useful Pokemon back out of their discard pile. We are playing 1 copy of Handheld Fan to be able to move some energy around from our opponent's bench Pokemon, or from our active Pokemon to their bench Pokemon. And of course, we're playing 4 copies of that Crushing Hammer. Heads, if you flip a coin, if heads, you discard an energy from one of your opponent's Pokemon. If tails, nothing happens. But this deck, truly, once it gets set up, can completely just lock your opponent out of the game and run away with the game, with the format having so much Pokemon that rely on those abilities to win them games. This deck completely neutralizes that from even happening. So now let's jump right in to that gameplay. Already here at that gameplay with our Iron Thorns EX deck at the coin flip. Unfortunately, we don't end up winning the coin flip. However, not too big of a deal here. We do end up wanting to go second. We have nothing really to evolve. We don't really have anything that we need to kind of get set up, except for our 4 Iron Thorns EX. It's really helpful when we can also play a supporter, start being able to find those pieces that we need very quickly to start setting up that lock that we can set on our opponent here. Trying to get an Iron Thorns EX up in the active spot here. Hand is not too bad with a Judge, Iono, Colress Tenacity, Lost Vacuum, Lost City, and a double turbo energy. My opponent on Raging Bolt, Ogerpon. Now, this matchup is very interesting because it doesn't shut off anything for their Raging Bolt EX, but it does slow down that Teal Dance ability, being able to attach a Grass Energy from their hand to that Ogerpon to be able to draw a card. So it slows down that draw engine and slows down that Bellowing Thunder from doing outrageously high damage as the game progresses. So We're going to draw for turn here, get a Pokégear 3.0. We're going to attach a double turbo energy here, and I'm going to play the Iono just for disruption, try to get into a second Iron Thorns EX is hopefully the plan. But unfortunately, we don't end up doing that. We're going to get a Crushing Hammer, though, hit heads on that Crushing Hammer, discarding that Fighting Energy, attach Future Boost Energy Capsule, and then pass turn. Now, one of the interesting things about this matchup is they can still use that Professor Sata's Vitality to be able to put those energies onto their Raging Bolt EXs. So we're going to have to watch out what energies we're discarding and things of that nature. So our opponent's going to have that Jamming Tower here in play, shutting off any of our Pokemon tools, things like Future Booster Energy Capsule, Handheld Fan, and anything like that. Our opponent going to use that Burst Roar attack, discard their hand, draw 6 cards. We're going to get into our Arven here. We're going to use Arven, get that Techno Radar and a Handheld Fan. We're going to use Techno Radar. We're going to pitch an Arven to grab 2 Iron Thorns EXs. We're going to bench both of those. We're going to attach both of our tools to each of them. I know Jamming Tower is in play, but my thought process is, as long as I can get rid of that Jamming Tower, my tools will be back online. So I'd rather have them on the Iron Thorns preemptively rather than not having them on there. So our opponent going to bench an Ogerpon EX here. Going to be able to attach that Fighting Energy to another Raging Bolt EX. So now they can't Teal Dance, and that really has slowed our opponent down substantially, not being able to draw the cards that they need to be able to pull off any incredible attacks. So I'm going to attach the Lightning Energy to the Iron Thorns EX. We're going to boss his orders and pull up that Raging Bolt EX that doesn't have any energy onto it, and we're going to move the Lightning Energy to our Iron Thorns EX on the bench with that Handheld Fan. And the reason I did that is because they can't really retreat out of that Raging Bolt EX unless they play things like switch cards or anything of that nature. Then they'll be able to possibly get out of that Raging Bolt EX. So we're going to use that Crushing Hammer here. Unfortunately, we hit tails, but we're going to be able to have that Arven here. And I'm going to grab that Energy Loto, I'm going to grab Earthen Vessel and a Future Boost Energy Capsule to pitch the capsule to get 2 Lightning Energies here. We're going to be able to use that Volt Cyclone again, taking 2 prizes on our opponent here. We're going to be able to take the first knockout of the game, putting us at a 4-6 split. Now, I'm in a pretty okay position. I have the lock set up with the Iron Thorns EXs. I have 1 up in the active spot with a double turbo. I have 2 Lightning Energies in my hand. So if they KO the active Iron Thorns EX, I have the backup Iron Thorns EX with 2 Lightning Energies on my bench. So all I have to do is just attach the energy for turn, and I can start attacking again. So we're going to have to see what our opponent can cook up here. They're going to be able to get themselves that Lightning Energy here. Bellowing Thunder, going to be able to discard any amount of energy from their Pokemon in play to deal 70 damage. They're going to discard all 4 to deal 280 damage to our Iron Thorns EX, putting us in a 4-4 even split here. Now, I am going to be able to attach that Lightning Energy to the Iron Thorns EX, but I end up grabbing the Lost City and the Legacy Energy, and the reason I do that is because now I have on top, I've completely removed the Jamming Tower, so the Handheld Fans and the Future Boost Energy Capsules are back online, and I've put myself in a position where I'm messing up their prize mapping. I'm skewing that prize trade. They can't just go 2-4-6 anymore. They have to go 2-3-5 and then kind of go from there. So they're going to have to take all 4 knockouts if they end up taking that KO on the Iron Thorns EX, which can really benefit us, especially when you're playing a control deck like this one. So our opponent here going to be able to remove our Lost City, unfortunately, with a Jamming Tower. Switch card, getting into a Raging Bolt EX to heal 30 damage off of the other Raging Bolt. Now, the nice thing is, though, is I do have 2 Lightning Energies in my hand. So, as long as there's no hand disruption coming from our opponent, we still have energies we can keep attaching to our Pokemon so we can keep pushing that pressure on them to force them to have to really dig themselves out of this game here. Now, they're going to bench that Radiant Greninja, but that won't matter because it has a rule box, and Iron Thorn's ability shuts off that concealed cards as well. So they're going to Bellowing Thunder here. They're not going to be able to take a KO, unfortunately, on our Iron Thorns EX. So we're going to have to see if they're going to discard all the energy or kind of just leave a couple in play or what the plan is. So they're going to discard that Lightning Energy off that Raging Bolt EX here to be able to put 70 damage counters, 70 damage to the Iron Thorns. We're going to boss up the Raging Bolt EX that has damage already on it. From that top deck, we did get the boss here. So we're going to go to a 2-4 split. Going to be able to really kind of put myself in a position where I'm really far ahead of this game. I have Crushing Hammer in my hand, so I'm going to be able to discard any energy potentially that they have on their Pokemon. We have 2 Lightning Energy in hand in an Iono, but they're going to play that new card, Xerxes Machinations, I believe is how you pronounce it. So we're going to discard a Lightning Energy here. And the reason I do that is because I don't want to discard the Crushing Hammer, because I was hoping to be able to discard the energy they have on one of their Pokemon. So they're going to use that Bellowing Thunder, discarding that fighting energy. So we're going to be able to Pokégear here. I'm going to grab myself that Arven. We're going to have Crushing Hammer here. So we're going to be able to hopefully discard that Legacy Energy off of that Iron Thorns. And we do. We got heads on that Crushing Hammer, discarding that Legacy Energy. We're going to play the Iono, shuffle up, put 2 cards at the bottom, draw into 2, and our opponent just concedes there. They don't really have a way to come back out of just the constant pressure that we're applying with our Iron Thorns EX, not being able to draw cards with their Teal Mask Ogerpon EXs because of that initialization ability that Iron Thorns EX has. And then, of course, Crushing Hammer, discarding that Legacy Energy. I put myself in a position where I can just 2-shot that Raging Bolt EX for game. So GG to our opponent there, absolutely incredible. Really was able to showcase that Iron Thorns EX can just completely neutralize your opponent's game plan with Iron Thorns just being able to shut off all those abilities. So now let's jump right in to that outro. Alrighty, that's gonna do it for today's video. I'm gonna make sure to put the deck list that I played in today's video in the description below, so you guys want to try it out for yourself, you'll be able to. If you guys enjoy the content I've been making stuff for here on the channel, don't forget to leave a like, smash the subscribe button. I really appreciate it. And I'll see you all on the next one. Peace!